Welcome back to Basecamp Engineering. I am Hardik and today we are diving into vectors, scalars and trigonometry, three super helpful tools that engineers use to understand forces and motion. Imagine you are pulling a wagon full of toys, but you are pulling the rope at an angle. How much of your pull actually moves the wagon forward? That's where vectors come in. Or picture measuring how tall a tree is by looking at the shadow it makes. That's trigonometry helping you out. These ideas are like a map and compass for engineers, helping us figure out how things move. Last time, we learned about momentum, impulse, and collisions, how objects keep moving, how we change their motion, and what happens when they crash. Now, we will take a step back to learn the tools we need to analyze motion and forces even better. We drop new videos every Friday, so hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and let's climb together. Let's start with scalars. Scalars are really simple. They are just numbers that tell us how much of something, but they don't tell us which way it's going. Imagine you are running to catch a ball and you are going 5 meters per second. That's your speed. Speed is a scalar because it only tells us how fast you are going, not which direction you are running. Other examples of scalars are things like time, mass, or temperature. If you say, I ran for 10 seconds, or my toy car weighs 2 kilograms, those are scalars too. They are just amounts with no direction involved. Scalars are super important in engineering because they help us measure things we need to know, like how fast something moves or how heavy it is, before we start worrying about where it's going. Here is how scalars work. They are just a number with a unit, like 5 meters per second for speed or 2 kilograms for mass. They don't need any arrows or directions because they are the same no matter which way you look at them. For example, if you are playing with a toy car and you say it moves at 3 meters per second, that's a scalar. It doesn't matter if the car is going left, right, or in a circle. The speed is still 3 meters per second. Scalars are like the first step in understanding motion. They tell us the size of something, and later we will add direction when we talk about vectors. Let's try a simple math problem to see scalars in action. Imagine you are riding a bike and you ride for 20 seconds at a speed of 4 meters per second. How far do you go? To find the distance, we use the formula distance is equals to speed multiplied by time. Speed is a scalar and time is a scalar. So distance will be a scalar too. So distance is equals to 80 meters. That means you rode 80 meters. Easy, right? Notice we didn't need to know which way you were going because scalars don't care about direction, just the amount. For example, when engineers design a car, they need to know its speed to make sure it's safe, or its mass to figure out how much force it needs to move. Scalars give us those basic numbers to start with. Let's test your understanding with a quick quiz. You are walking to school at a speed of 2 meters per second and it takes you 30 seconds to get there. How far is your school from home? The answer is B, 60 meters. We didn't need to know which way you were walking because speed and distance are scalars. No direction needed. Great job. Let's move on to vectors. Vectors are a little different from scalars because they tell us not just how much but also which way. Imagine you are pulling a wagon full of toys with a rope, but you are pulling it at an angle, like forward the right and a bit upward. If you pull with a force of 10 newtons, that force is a vector because it has a size 10 newtons and a direction toward the right and up. Or picture kicking a soccer ball toward the goal, 5 meters per second to the left. That speed with a direction is a vector too. Vectors are super important in engineering because they help us understand how forces and motion work when things move in different directions. Here is how vectors work. They have two parts, a number and a direction. We show vectors with arrows. The length of the arrow shows how big the vector is, and the way the arrow points shows the direction. For example, if you are pulling the wagon with 10 newtons to the right, we draw a long arrow pointing right. If you pull with 5 newtons to the left, we draw a shorter arrow pointing left. Vectors can be things like force, velocity, or displacement, anything where direction matters. Unlike scalars, which are just a number, vectors need both the number and the way it's going. So, if you say, I walked 3 meters, that's a scalar. But if you say, I walked 3 meters to the north, that's a vector because it has a direction. Let's try a simple math problem to see vectors in action. Imagine you are pushing a toy car with a force of 8 newtons to the right, and your friend pushes it with a force of 4 newtons to the left. What's the total force on the car? Since these forces are in opposite directions, we subtract the smaller force from the bigger one, and the direction will be the same as the bigger force. So, 8 newtons to the right minus 4 newtons to the left equals 4 newtons to the right. That means the total force on the car is 4 newtons to the right. Easy, right? This is called adding vectors, and we have to think about direction, not just the numbers. For example, when engineers design a bridge, they need to know the direction of forces like the wind pushing from the left or the weight pulling down to make sure the bridge stays safe. Vectors help us figure out how all those forces work together. Let's test your understanding with a quick quiz. You are pulling a sled with a force of 10 newtons to the right, and your friend pulls it with a force of 6 newtons to the left. What's the total force on the sled? The answer is A, 4 newtons to the right. Great job. Let's move on to trigonometry. Now, let's dive into trigonometry. Trigonometry sounds like a big word, but it's just a tool to help us understand angles and break down directions, like figuring out how much of a push goes in a certain way. Imagine you are pulling a wagon with a rope, but the rope is at an angle, like 30 degrees from the ground. You pull with a force of 10 newtons, but not all of that force moves the wagon forward. Some of it pulls upward. Trigonometry helps us split that force into two parts. One part moving the wagon forward and one part pulling up. Or picture trying to find the height of a tall tree by measuring its shadow. That's trigonometry at work too. It's super helpful for engineers when they need to analyze forces and motion in different directions. Here is how trigonometry works. It uses angles to tell us how much of a vector, like a force or a distance, goes in one direction versus another. We use three main ideas: sine, cosine, and tangent. But don't worry, we will keep it simple. Let's focus on sine and cosine for now. If you pull the wagon at a 30-degree angle with 10 newtons, the force moving the wagon forward is the horizontal part, and we find it using cosine. The formula is horizontal force is equals to total force multiplied by cosine of the angle. The force pulling upward is the vertical part, and we use sine. Vertical force is equals to total force multiplied by sine of the angle. For a 30-degree angle, cosine of 30 degrees is about 0.87 and sine of 30 degrees is zero point 0.5. So, the forward force is 8.7 newtons and the upward force is 5 newtons. That means 8.7 newtons moves the wagon forward and 5 newtons pulls it up. Trigonometry helps us split the force. Let's try a simple math problem to see trigonometry in action. Imagine you are pushing a box up a ramp that's at a 45-degree angle to the ground, and you push with a force of 20 newtons. How much of your force goes into moving the box up the ramp? At 45 degrees, cosine of 45 degrees is about 0.71. So the force along the ramp is 14.2 newtons. That's the part of your push that moves the box up the ramp. Pretty cool, right? The rest of the force pushes into the ramp. But we will focus on the part that matters for motion. For example, when engineers design a bridge, they use trigonometry to figure out how much force goes into each support beam based on the angles. Or when a rocket launches, they use trigonometry to calculate its path. Let's test your understanding with a quick quiz. You are pulling a sled with a rope at a 30-degree angle using a force of 12 newtons. How much force moves the sled forward? Use cosine of 30 degrees, which is about 0.87. The answer is A, 10.4 newtons. Great job. Let's see how these ideas work in real life next. Let's see how engineers use scalars, vectors, and trigonometry in real life to understand forces and motion. These tools help solve problems in the world around us, like building bridges, flying airplanes, and even kicking a soccer ball. I will show you three easy examples to see how these ideas work in engineering. First, imagine a small bridge that you walk across to get to a park. A car drives over it and its weight pushes down. That's a vector because it goes straight down. Let's say 100 newtons. The bridge has slanted ropes holding it up at a 45-degree angle. Engineers use trigonometry to figure out how much of that weight the ropes need to hold. They use sine of 45 degrees, which is about 0.75, so each rope feels 71 newtons of force. They also use scalars like the car's weight to make sure the ropes are strong enough. Next, let's look at an airplane flying to a vacation spot. The airplane flies at a speed of 200 meters per second. That's a scalar, but it's flying at a 30-degree angle upward to climb higher. So its velocity is a vector because it has a direction. Engineers use trigonometry to find out how fast it's going up. They use sine of 30 degrees, which is zero point 0.5, so 100 meters per second upward. They also find the forward speed with cosine of 30 degrees, about 0.87, so 174 meters per second forward. Finally, let's think about kicking a soccer ball during a game. You kick the ball with a force of 20 newtons at a 60-degree angle toward the goal. That's a vector because it has a direction. Engineers studying the ball's motion use trigonometry to see how far it will go. The forward force is 20 newtons multiplied by cosine of 60 degrees, which is zero point 0.5, so 10 newtons toward the goal. The upward force, which makes the ball fly, is 20 multiplied by sine of 60 degrees, about 0.87, so 17.4 newtons upward. The ball's speed is a scalar, but its path is a vector, and trigonometry helps figure out if it will reach the goal. These examples show how scalars, vectors, and trigonometry help engineers understand forces and motion, from bridges to airplanes to soccer. These tools make things safe and fun. Pretty cool, right? Let's wrap up with some practice questions to test what you have learned. That's a wrap on vectors, scalars, and trigonometry. We have learned so much today. Scalars are numbers like speed with no direction. Vectors, like a force, tell us which way things go. And trigonometry helps us split those directions using angles, like finding how much force moves something forward. You have seen these ideas in action with bridges, airplanes, and soccer kicks. I hope you are feeling more confident about forces and motion now. To keep practicing, I have got 10 practice questions covering everything we learned. They are simple and fun, so give them a try Share your answers in the comments and I will pin the solutions. We drop new videos every Friday, so subscribe and hit the bell to keep climbing with us. Next week, we will dive into another exciting topic to make engineering even easier. Stay tuned.